sides of power in the north. I have received word from some of them, one that would ally with us, that there might be some hope or some ways we can challenge this darkness that comes down upon us.
You can see Mooten better now. His eyes are bloodshot. There's deep, deep circles entrenched around a young face. As he turns and looks at you, beckons you to come in. Brother Stryke, what do you have to say? What is this ally you speak of?
I was told by a child of the forest, that this is some lady of the north has awoken some darkness, and this is not the first time. This is a cycle of nature that comes, and the children of the forest had hopes that perhaps this time she could be beaten, could be defeated enough that to not return. They told me to look for 3 weapons: the blood of the dragon, the blood of the old, or dragon fire. I assume we have no dragon fire, but I'm curious what you think of the other 2.
What's this thing with dragon fire with the dragon glass? Last time I saw dragon glass was in Castle Black. We don't have anything like that here. Wildfire, I did not choose to plumb those mysteries while I was at the city. So dragonfire is right out. Blood of the dragon. Blood of Valyria. There are some Valyrians way back when we practiced a form of blood magic. Blood cross from the sea. Potent. It's before to do all sorts of things. Make somebody age slower. Light things in blue flame. Lord with spirits. Could be mentioned in the blood of Valyria. That magical practice. I think again, blue fire is good as dragon fire. As these things tend to burn as though they were made of tallow itself. Blood of the first. I see. Yes. He points to one of the stewards. Go to the library. On the northernmost side are a few of the journals of the old maesters. Bring me each and every one you can find. If this is cyclical, there might be an answer to that. Thank you, Brother. Is there anything you can else you can tell me about this child in the forest? I've only read about these things as myths, or records of an age thought lost. To hear that one of them's alive and one of them's communicating is... I'm living in a fairy tale right now, and I could use some answers.
It is a fairy tale, and not a happy one. But I will say one thing that might be helpful is that those that come at us here, often their eyes, they glow green. But those that offered ally find the blue light within their orbs. And it may be that they are just an enemy that today has the same enemy. But if you see the green, strike strong, and perhaps those with the blue may help us.
Strange. Blue eyes usually are a sign of whites and white brothers. Something curious about the origins of those things that should have been enforced, but right now scholarly curiosity is not going to save us. The Green Lady sounds like something from a tale from Castle Black. The Night Tower. He points to the other steward. Get me everything you have on the history of the Night Tower. And any of the notable kings beyond the wall. Well, on top of plotting a siege, I guess I'm going to get some light reading.
If you wish another book to read, the brothers that went north before us and that died finding this cache that we brought back brought a book with them, and I believe Brother Elyon has it, and it might also offer some illumination as to what is upon us.
Okay, we need that at once. He just calls for a page. One of the young training students, a lad that might be 15. Find Brother Elyon. He's probably with steward skin, fitted for a new prosthetic. Have him bring what was found in the cache to us. The boy is off like a shot. We follow him over the shoulder. And as he goes to find Brother Elyon, where do we find Bryndon?
I think Bryndon is trying to get fitted for some armor. Because up to now, he hasn't had any. And with what's coming, he probably wants some.
What does Bryndon want to be fitted
for? Something light. He wasn't looking for anything terribly unwieldy, probably hard leather at the most.
Okay. You can get fitted for hard leather.
Okay.
There's enough of that to go around. Though as things are a bit short here, and they weren't necessarily expecting the rush, as it were. These are not really stylized or dyed black. These are brown leathers, something you see more along the lines of the hunters in a ward's retinue, as opposed to soldierly or even a brother in black there. But it fits, it's functional, and hopefully it won't take too many shots. Anything else?
That would be the hope. Just a short blade. No, specifically a left-handed dagger.
That, surprisingly enough, you can find plenty.
Mm-hmm.
All those Bravosi and other pilots that like to use such a thing. There's left-handed daggers plenty in these.
So yeah, he'll pick up one of those, and the other idea that he had was to use the other dagger, one of the special daggers that they found, because they found one. So he was hoping to use the lighter weapons as a pair. He's always been better with the lighter stuff. Heavier stuff's more difficult for him, but he's quick.
As you get your fitting. I think we see our remaining brothers are all at the armory. I can see Elyon there, like, trying to convince one of the quartermaster's greatsword, who just kind of like shakes his head begrudgingly, and just Elyon going, "Okay, well, give me the biggest you got." And a porter, a steward, a young lad just comes by with a bastard sword. As Ferris is standing not too far off, stringing a proper longbow, and getting loaded up with plenty of arrows, and Ogden, who's still nursing a wounded arm that has had to go through much and hasn't entirely healed yet, just dancing about in his own thievish way as all these other brothers are getting fitted, and just ferreting and finding any little piece sharp enough that he can throw, and secreting that about his person. And as the armory is just a din of metal and men, as war is coming. And it's a war that none of these brothers were expecting. It's one thing to fight goblins, it's another thing to fight what lies in that room. And with that din, a young page comes down, comes to Elyon. Commander would like to speak with you. I need for you to bring what you found at the cache. Brother Stryke is with him. If you need an extra set of hands, I can see about scrounging up a few extra pages.
Alright. And where's the commander at?
Map room.
Alright. I'll head there. Sort of... You always know whenever you would, like, try on shoes and you would, like, walk back and forth in the aisle just to make sure they fit. He kind of does that with the new prosthetic leg for a second. And then he'll walk to that room.
As you're still healing, it's sore.
Ooh, yeah.
But it feels like this has the right amount of give and a lot more grip. So you don't feel like you're slipping around. It bites into the floor and gives you purchase. And
cool.
It's still something you are getting accustomed to. So the movement's not elegant, but it is allowing you to move. And with a very distinctive sound, one that precedes Brother Elyon, I think we cut back to the map room as Elyon comes in, pages in tow, Stryke there. And the pages set down the things that are in the cache. Amongst them, Bryndon, who is the one who's bringing the book. Sets it down. As Mooten leers over it, so this is what you're saying those at the tower went after. He looks at Stryke.
They tried.
Okay. He flips over the book. Looks quizzically. Well, this is old. Looks like a dialect of the first tongue. Mixed with a few other things. Strange. Flips
I
through it.
could read some. Couldn't really
Yeah.
make heads or tails of it, honestly.
The common tongue comes from it. So I'm not surprised. I just respect that you were able to decipher some of it. This is strange. However, quick trick. Sometimes it's best to start at the end. As he flips to the back of the book, it starts with death will come on wing and fang, as that which refuses to die rises again. Only with blood and flame will the Andal's greatest, can't make out that word, be put to rest. Andals. This is ancient history. Well, it makes sense if children of the forest and everything you say, Stryke. Blood and flame, blood and flame. Those are the weapons that were found with this?
Yes.
Dragon glass, that makes sense. Bone, I have absolutely no bloody idea. Could be something in reference to your blood of the first men. Best heads or tails I can make of it, and this is an educated guess. It's not elegant, but I'm guessing you need to stab the person that you have been talking about repeatedly with these.
It's better than having nothing to go on.
Sometimes the simple
Guessing.
things, simple.
Yeah, simple solution. Except we've got an entire sieging force, and by what you're telling me, this is the commander.
Yeah, it is.
You're the most familiar with this, the two of you. What do you suggest?
Wish I had a
We do
good
not.
plan, but army of beasts is a harder thing to fight than men. Men, you can at least say, are predictable. Beasts are a whole different story.
We will probably need to make it hard enough that she needs to show herself. And then, guess what? The fates will.
Okay. And based on cursory things, I might find more ideas as I look through this book. He looks to the ranger. Assemble every decent archer we've got. Have the builders ready on the weapon crews and siege weapons. Find every single blasted thing of oil in the keep and get ready to toss it along the lines of the forest. Fire is a thing that we can use against them. We'll use every bit of fire we've got.
Blood of the dragon. Why can't I help but start thinking that's been about me recently?
Are you one of Aegon's bastards?
Oh, one of many.
Okay. Know any magic? Just says casually.
I've had magic used on the magic that had been used on lost that limb. He'll do some grand gesture and just like force his will to see if somehow he can do magic, and probably nothing happens, and he just looks ridiculous.
Nothing. You look foolish. In this moment of tension, everyone actually gets a decent laugh in at this. Well, I guess it's not any time to send you to the Citadel. But I have an idea. It's not a pleasant one, but it's an idea.
We're the Night's Watch. Most of these ideas are never pleasant.
Well, if you're saying we need to force her hand, and we need to funnel her to the front of the line, that means she's going to probably want to strike at our weakest point. With the ships recalled, there is not going to be seaside. Few ships that we have and the ones on the way easily can put enough fire onto the water, into the air. Even with her beasts, it's foolhardy. But there is one point along the wall that, if we don't collapse, it will make an inviting target. There's an old, and I do mean old, passageway. We occasionally use it when we need to send riders out. It's an alternate to our gate. The gate has its gauntlet. It's one door after another. Even in a weakened state, it's too much to ask even of the army of the dead. But there, it's only 3 gates. It's only 3 gates, and then you get into the complex. I'd like those of you who came back, who know about these things and these weapons, to hold there.
If she comes,
So,
we'll be there.
it leaves. And Elyon's just doing mental math in his head at the moment. 6 of us to defend the weakest point in Eastwatch. Fuck it. I got Spear and Hearthome. I can deal with worse.
We will have some support. A contingent of builders will be with you. They're not necessarily the best drilled men when it comes to a fight. But should things become overwhelming and you need to fall back, you won't find better brothers to collapse a tunnel anywhere along the wall. Just make sure you're on the right side when it happens.
Yeah.
Now, sounds like you have some experience finding these things. We've got one spare scorpion. Do you want down there with you? Or would you prefer it up on the wall?
This is an out of character question. What the hell is that?
Siege crossbow.
Oh, got it. Honestly, something like that. What that... The tunnels leading through the web are going to be pretty narrow, yeah?
Narrow, but it's a long, straight shot.
Quite frankly, I don't want to take the chances of one of us getting hit by that damn thing.
Fair.
I'd rather have it up on the wall.
Have the builders find a point. See what weaknesses there are in our hard points. Again, I don't want them to try and hide from that thing and be driven elsewhere. I want it all to funnel here. Now, get some rest. I have a feeling that a little after sunset, that's when this is all going to kick off. So, what would you all like to do before sunset?
I think Elyon's just gonna go sit in the mess hall and just kind of stare at this masthead that we've always had sitting in there, and it's just sort of going through all these different plans in their head. It's like, really doesn't seem like the smartest idea. I don't think I can really come up with anything better.
Would you say you're daydreaming?
Yeah, basically.
Okay. As you daydream, your head in your hand, mind wanders. And as it wanders, looking at that masthead, that shape seems to shiver, shimmer, and change. And where once there was a carving of wood and shape, there is now a woman, young, long silver hair, possibly a beauty of the age. Little brother, you have a job to do. She will find you. She is going to find you. And when you confront her, your choice is death or glory. That is all that is waiting you. Death or glory. She will take you hot, or you will take hers.
I don't plan on dying anytime soon. And when I kill her. You can kill dear old Dad. I'm coming for his head next.
Dad's dead.
Good.
Fare thee well, little brother. Don't die yet.
Valor Morgullis.
And as you sort of come to Valor Morgullis on your lips, one of the few brothers in black that does not come from Westeros, Revosi Pirate, gives you side-eye.
Wasn't directed towards you.
I could tell that. Usually when no one says it like that, they're having a conversation with death. We prefer to say, not today, not Valor Morgullis.
In that case, not today.
He just nods at you and heads off. Bryndon, what are you up to?
I think he's in the courtyard. And he's drilling. Not because anybody necessarily told him to go there, but because he's there himself, and he's spent a lot of his time since he's been here in this very courtyard, and it's comfortable now, almost.
Fair. Why don't you go ahead and give me a fighting test?
Okay. Oh my god. $22
22.
out of 4 dice.
Nice. So, from one storyteller to another, tell me, what do we see as Bryndon drills in this courtyard?
I think this is where we get a look at just how much he's improved. Because at the beginning of this story, we had a scene where he was in the courtyard training, drilling, and his footwork was sloppy. His stance was never tight the way it needed to be. He was always turned not quite right. And now, as we see him now, we see that his footwork is almost perfect. His stance is almost perfect. And he is fighting like a seasoned veteran as opposed to the greenhorn he was just a scant couple of weeks ago.
If you allow me to embellish, at the last point, as form holds, he swiftly turns and throws a dagger which buries itself in the head of one of the training dummies. As one of the other brothers, one that drilled better and didn't have to go and get blooded that way with you. He went on a ship, but came back. Orders for you. You're to hold the old spillway with those who came back with a few other builders. That's where you're going to be tonight.
All right. Then that's where I'll be.
May your watch be quiet.
And
May
yours,
your
brother.
watch not end. Walks off. Where do we find Stryke?
So first, as Stryke is heading off to do his tasks, he's walking up, along the parapet some way, and very much like as this started, he looks down upon the drill yard, and sees Bryndon, being awesome down there. And so he finds some other brother that's standing next to him, points down at Bryndon, says, that's Bryndon the Strong. Do you know that he got in a tug-of-war contest with a hull breaker, with another brother in the middle of it? And he won, right? Just like they got the larger part of the wishbone. The hull breaker got the leg, but Bryndon got the rest of it. Yeah. I've seen him pick up a person with one hand, drag him right over a cliff. Looks pretty scrawny, really, but there's some strength in that one. There's some strength there.
I want you to give me a check. I don't know which one yet, but I want you to give me a check. I want. Okay. I want you. I'm going to give you a choice. You can give me persuasion, deception, or status. And
Well,
I will give you your choice of convince, charm, or act as bonus dice. And given everything that's happened, I'm giving you 2 free bonus dice.
okay, well, you've picked all things that Stryke is not good at.
There.
So my combined roll there, even with the bonus dice, is just an 8.
Yeah, but the fun thing about this system is on the low end, 6 is 1. So the story starts in the ears of a young steward along a parapet eastwatch by the sea, as man who has come to be known quite quickly as the Old Ghost tells a story about Bryndon the Strong. A lot of stories get told that afternoon, waiting for the sun to set. Bryndon the Strong starts gathering about as whispers go through. As a number of other stories follow. The Old Ghost, the clacking sound of the brother who would not die starts going about, of Ferris the Fair Ogden the thief, and even young Benjamin, the child that saw the light. And all these brothers, even Bruce, who has a terrible reputation as possibly the laziest ranger in all of Eastwatch. The stories bandy about on walls and winds as dusk settles in. You each make your way down through the warrens of the wall. Eastwatch is an interesting design, as are most of the end caps of the wall. There is one main tower that stands on the edge of the wall. The rest of the complex sits around that tower, and two smaller go along the wall. And in between the two smallest towers, all the way down that massive ice edifice, there is a gate. It is old. It may be rusted at this point. And then behind that is another gate. Wood and steel. Slightly better cared for. Behind that is another gate. This one cobbled together. Not all the fittings are steel, some are brass, some are bronze, patinaed, greened with time. And in the light of only torches and gleaming glass and reflections on ice so cold it refuses to melt, stand 6 brothers who have been through hell. And behind them, 15 brothers, skilled in building and destroying things. You hear the sounds of mallets, wood being hauled up, stone, orders from the builders. They have rigged one of the bracing joints to fail, and fail spectacularly. And as such, they've even built a small barrier to try and keep some of the debris from falling further back, digging even a small trench. In a few hours, the earthworks that they have set will hopefully buy you time should you fail. But as you stand there in the torchlight, you wait. But there are sounds elsewhere in the keep. The sound of leather stretching as straps are being tightened. The sound of rope being pulled taut on scorpion and trebuchet. The sound of waiting breaths. The sound of shuffling. And then even you, here in the deep and the dark, hear the horn. A blaring horn fashioned from a dragon. That means that Eastwatch is under attack. The cries of "Loose! echo through the lines at the top of the wall and the courtyard. Rain of arrows with fire pots of oil flung. The scorpion sounds as it is fired. Meeting all of this is a wave of undead flesh. Giant, wolf, wildling, brother, and things older still launch themselves out of the woods, arrow biting into sinew and bone, but they keep going. The fire pots hit the edge of the tree line, lighting things up, but still the wave comes. Line after line of the fire, they pour further and further in. You can hear the cries, you can hear the clatter, you can hear the rabble as they're coming closer and closer. A wind howls, and even on that terrible howling wind, the cold biting down even down here, there is a call of a bird of prey heard above all of it. You hear the cries of men falling off the wall, as birds of all sorts, innumerable in number, like an unwelcome gale, crash along the wall, scratching, pecking, and some, even the large ones, pulling. And men fall over and tumble to their deaths. But in those screams lies another sound, as finally there is the crash of the first wave. You hear them. You smell them as they hit the first gate. Even in its age, it tries to hold. The wall has its own oath to try and guard the realms of men. And against this first wave of shock troopers to gather fire, they cannot break through. But more pour out of the haunted forest, now further alight. Timber, wood burning, dead flesh burning, oil burning in the night. And another wave comes. Withering fire, scorpions biting, but still they come. And in their number, something of tremendous size. And with a thunderous crack, something akin to the prow of a ship comes crashing against that gate, and it falls. And the dead come pouring through. They hit wood and steel, but now you can actually see the reflection in their eyes. You see the green. As they claw and tear with axe in hand, trying to break this thing. Whatever is immense in size stays outside, and then with sounds of, from above, pour on! Pour on! Cut the chain! A massive chain comes swooping down along the wall. Massive weight. Hands like a pendulum, it sweeps across the wall, and there is a bit of darkness contrasted with the light as horrific crunching sounds clear the sound. But still the dead come. Third wave. More screaming. Boat off the coast of Eastwatch is now aflame. And more dead come. But with the slathering cries of something that should not breathe and should not make noise, come howls, very familiar, vengeful, knowing. And they are at the back. As the dead press on and the second gate fails. By sheer weight and number they press through. And now you see them. Just a bit of wood and myriad metal keeps you from this wave of the dead. What do you all do?
Did we divide up those weapons from the cache yet?
Let's have a flashback scene.
Yeah. As you see the dead bursting through the gates.
We cut to earlier, where arrayed on a table, there are these weapons.
I assumed Bryndon took one of the daggers, and I assume Elyon took one of them based on the previous conversation. Is that accurate?
Yeah. Without hesitation, Elyon takes one of the daggers. Now there's an axe and a club, if memory serves.
Stryke will take one of those, but I'm not really sure which. Maybe the axe? Is there one you might want, Elyon or Bryndon?
I think the dagger will be fine. Bruce!
Yes.
You any good with either of these kinds of weapons?
Decent with an axe.
Alright. And he'll just pick up the axe and just sort of toss it over to Bruce. Looks like the club's yours.
It is. We will see how it fares.
And see how it fares we will. As the gate fails. The dead come pouring in. You were about to say.
Stryke is going to have a lit torch in one hand and the bone club in the other, and not charge into that, but wait for them as they come.
It seems as though the gates are taking their own toll, as when they fail, they fall, and fall with a vengeance. As many of the dead that are down here, many more are now buried in rubble. But there are enough to come clashing towards your line. So we're going to go with theatrical initiative. first of you can choose who wants to go, and then pass it around. And then, if memory holds, I will then get to inflict terrible harm upon you. But first, strike hard, strike true. Who wants to go first?
Well, I mean, you said strike. I'm willing to go with that.
I have two brothers, strike hard and strike fast. Anyways,
And you're just
ladies,
strike.
I'm just striking. Yeah. The elder, you see. Anyways, I will step. I mean, as they're coming forward, I'm happy to step forward, and I'm going to start with the torch, and try and take the undead in front of me with the torch. Since I have plenty of opportunity, I'll use the lesser action aim and then do the attack. Standard attack for the extra dice. And I will roll really bad. Okay, I got a 10, so
10 hits. These are the running dead. They are not necessarily the most agile of things. So you hit, but only 1 degree. However, you are using fire. So go ahead and roll me roll me 3d6.
$13.
You managed to catch this thing right in its tattered clothes, and it goes up like kindling. There's a strange sound. A sound that would haunt most people's nightmares, as it's this pairing of that whoosh of flame with a howl, not human, not animal. And as that howl barrels down, it is choked off by that sound of fire, and it falls before you as it continues to burn, and burn bright. Who's next? Who would you like to pass it off to?
Let's see how Elyon does with his prosthetic.
Yeah, let's do it. Are these things within melee range, or would I have to use one of my lesser actions to move up to them?
They are just charging you, and so you have been readied, and I'm saying you were not taken off guard, so you can just strike.
Cool. In that case, I shall sort of do what Stryke was doing. I shall use one of my lesser actions to aim, and then one of my lesser actions to do a cautious attack. And I will do this with, I feel like I might need the dagger for something later. So let's go ahead and do the bastard sword first.
Fair.
Okay. So that is... that will be 18.
18 is... That is 2 degrees. So.
Okay, then that shall be 8 points of damage with the bastard sword.
All right. You swing out as this dead man from who knows when comes screaming and barreling down at you, and you swing out with practice arm, and your stance holds despite prosthetic, and it is enough to take this thing's head clean off.
Woo!
Bryndon,
I'll take that.
what do you do?
Bryndon has the obsidian in one hand and the left-handed dagger in the other, and he just goes in on the closest one with a 2-weapon attack.
Ooh.
Okay. 11,
11 hits, 1 degree.
which is not great, but it's okay. So because of the 2-weapon attack, I add the +1 for offhand from the left-handed dagger.
Yes.
And then the obsidian dagger, is that just a standard dagger for most purposes?
It's just a standard dagger.
Okay. So that's agility -2, so that's 3 total damage, which isn't a lot, but
You swing out, and while you swing true, you get it right in the gut. A gut that does not care about being stabbed.
Right.
And it is barreling down on you. And it is going to attempt to rip and tear.
great.
But I don't think a 7 hits you.
No.
So you have it on the end of these 2 pointy weapons, and it is lashing out at you. Its hands, its teeth, just grating across leather. But even still, you can see the leather is getting scratched up by this thing's hands. Now, the dead strike at each of the brothers. So, Stryke, does an 11 hit you?
It does. It just hits me. I have a 10. So.
Yep. So, it does a total of 5 damage. Account
take
for
that.
whatever armor you may have.
Oh, yeah, yes.
And Elyon,
Yes.
does an 8 hit you?
It does not because of my cautious attack.
You manage to keep that defensive stance, and as another one of these horrific dead things crash into your line, you manage to avoid its wild swings. Now we cut to the outside. As the fire is being poured on more and more, and the fire is catching all along the line of the haunted forest. The things that would have been brought in are being driven away. They're being driven either towards the shoreline, having to make their way through the surf, or further down the wall, and then trying to make their way back. The fire break is working. And that frustration is met with a howl and the call of a bird of prey and flash of green. We'll get to the ramifications of that later. But first, the brothers hold the line. Who would like to go first?
I would. I'm just gonna rinse and repeat here. I'll do an aim and then a cautious attack against the one that just took a
That's
swing at
right
me.
there. Yes.
Yeah, and
In the torchlight, you
I
can
will
see its teeth.
Ooh, love that. And I will be using the adaptable quality of my bastard sword, and I'll be wielding it with 2 hands, which allows me to get some more damage in. So,
Go for it.
okay. Pretty good again. That's one higher than the last roll. That's 19.
That is... That is still 2 degrees.
All right, then that shall be 10 damage instead of 8.
Stryke comes in low, and steel hits rotted flesh and bone, and the top half of this thing falls off of its legs. And yet, surprisingly, a hand reaches out and tries to swipe at you at your ankles.
Ha! Okay,
We'll get to that in a moment. Who's next?
beautiful.
Who would you like to pass it off to, Elyon?
Let's pass it off to Stryke.
How deep does the line of undead coming at us look? Is it like a large horde, or is it just a few?
It is more than just a few, but it is less than a horde, thanks to the gates. You would say roughly they are 3 ranks deep.
Okay. The torch seemed relatively effective. I'm gonna make sure I flail it around a bit before I whack another one on the head. See if they do they flinch back against the torch, the fire at all?
It's interesting. Those that are in the closest line do not flinch, but those...
I did better. I got a 14.
14. 2 degrees. So...
Do you want me to roll fire damage? Or
Yep.
3 dice?
Roll those 3d6 and double them.
Double them? Well, that would be a 22 then.
Ow!
Again,
Oh my
goes
God.
up like flash paper. There isn't even a howl. It just ignites and actually, yes. I'm going to need all of you to give me a quick, we'll say this is an awareness test, but
Okay.
I'll let you use resilience as bonus dice.
Okay. Phew. 13?
13?
Also
All
13.
Right.
17.
Okay. You all, as this thing goes up and starts to flash quite so bright, you all close your eyes in that moment, just in time to keep yourself from going slightly light blind. As in this darkened tunnel, this is like the brightest of camera flashes. almost like thermite igniting, this guy burns bright and then immediately turns to ashes. Bryndon, what do you do?
I'm gonna take a little bit more careful aim at the one in front of me and make a standard attack. Okay. That is 14.
14. 14 is 2 degrees.
4.
Yeah.
You take dagger, turn it in your hand, and bring it down on this thing's already showing skull. Pierces through cracks, makes a terrible sound, and the smell is one that will haunt your nightmares as you twist the blade and pull it free. It falls like just a heap of damp rags and bone at your feet. But with that, another one is right on you. Does 9 connect?
No. Not since I still have the defensive quality of the offhand this time.
A hand lashes out at Elyon's ankle, the good one.
Yep.
But it strikes limply and just drags its nails across your good boot. And does a 9 hit Stryke?
It just misses. Yay!
Yay!
So another one comes up to Stryke and overextends itself, almost moving past him. Now, in your line is a dead man that has no mind but for destruction. And now a green light starts coming down this corridor. You can see it in the distance. The silhouettes of those that are standing between you and her, dancing in the light, a shadow play being performed. And in those shadows, not only are there the figures of men, but just a few yards behind, now 2 ranks of dead, are 2 very, very large shadows, wolves. The fight continues outside. The light from the fire is enough to at least get the eyes and the sight of ships sailing north. A commotion is noted, horns being blasted along the coastline. A warning, a shout that might be heard further south. But we go back into this tunnel, back to this line. Who goes first?
You said there are ranks of undead between us and the lady, correct?
2 ranks. 2 ranks,
Cool.
then further down, at least 2 wolves, and then a green light farther behind them.
Gotcha. Okay. I went first last round. If somebody else would like to go first this round, I will not be opposed.
I think I should go first for a change.
Beautiful.
Bryndon's actually doing some work here. I think we're gonna go in for the 2-weapon attack again. Okay. 16.
16, 2 degrees.
6.
You catch it in the chest. You drag your blade. It hits purchase. You have heard the snap of a sternum now a number of times before, and you hear it again. But this thing still stands, and it wants you dead. Who you pass it off to?
Stryke.
Yeah, Stryke looks at the green light coming, anxious, or I don't know, with anticipation. But there are still some dead in front of him that need dealing with. So I'm actually going to do a cautious attack this time, because the flame's doing good, and try and thin the ranks in front of us so that we can face those wolves. That worked out well. In fact, my cautious attack is better than my other attacks at 16.
Hey, beautiful.
2 degrees. So roll the dice and double
them. I mean, only 16, but I think that might be enough.
Oh, only.
It doesn't quite burn as white hot, but it still burns bright. As the green light is flooded out with white temporarily, and then orange contrasting with the green, and the hues of blue dancing off the ice, as another of these dead start cooking down a small burning trench at Stryke's feet.
I deliberately point the torch towards the green light, challengingly, before I pass it off to Elyon.
All right.
The green light will note this.
It's like a Telltale game. The green light will remember this. But, yeah. Any undead near me, I'm assuming? Just take a swipe at another one of these things?
By all means.
Alright. Rinse and repeat. 1 lesser action to aim and 1 lesser action to cautious attack. Oh boy. Don't fall on my hand, please. Okay. So we drop that one. 12. 21.
3 degrees.
That will be 15 points of damage. And 2 6s if that matters against an undead thing.
A little bit if it was still around. As you go for an overhead cut, it manages to drag itself through the head of the one that's standing, swiping at you, and then down into the head of the one at your feet. The two dying in a pile before you. Now I go.
Woo!
One that was in your lines is going to try and push past. It sees softer prey beyond you all, but takes an arrow from one of the builders and is most certainly dead.
Yeah.
As Ferris and Ogden are holding their own, making themselves almost a second rank for you as well, and the builders that aren't ready to bring down until a third. And familiar face is now sighted. A
Ooh.
white carrying a woodsman's axe steps up to swing its strike.
Oh.
I think a 14 hits you.
Yeah, even with the cautious defense, that gets me by 1.
All right, so that's 5.
Yikes.
I can still take that, so I guess I will.
All right. And another face from the recent past. As a brother buried in the sands of the beach comes to swing at Elyon, wielding an axe.
Mm-hmm.
Does a 12 hit you?
By 1 degree of success.
And that'll be 4 damage.
Okay, so my armor reduces that down to 1. So I will just take that.
Good call. And now still one of the generic undead. One's long dead, not freshly dead. On Bryndon. I don't think a 6 is going to hit.
Nah. Try again, son.
But fresher one clad in the hides of a member of the Night Runner clan, with spear tries to strike at Bryndon. But I don't think a 7's going to hit. So
Hell yeah.
as flailing arm and spear come at Bryndon, daggers come to parry blows, both of clawed hand and wood and stone. And now, who would like to go next?
I think I would. But when you said, like, the axe, does this mean, like, Dawson's axe, the axe?
No.
Or just an axe? Okay.
This is an axe.
Okay.
This is Brother Hulis Warren, who you buried on
the Nolman.
On that shore outside the tower, wielding an axe and coming to kill you.
Let's just go. I mean, it's been working out for me pretty well so far, so I'll just use a lesser action to aim with the bastard sword again, and lesser action to just make a cautious attack. So we shall just swing. If it'll. Wow, okay, that's a lot of 6s. That's a lot of 6s. So after accounting for my 1 injury, that is going to be a 24.
Okay. Three degrees.
Okay. That is 15 damage and 4 6s.
Yeah. Which we will consult the chart of doom.
Yes. We shall
4 6s on the chart of doom.
Crippling wound. They take 1 wound, and if their wounds equal their endurance rank, they die.
Well, wounds does not equal their endurance rank. yet. But these are hardier as they're fresher on the bed.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this is a terrible, terrible blow as you manage to hack and you hear the bone break of the upper arm as your sword connects. This should be something that would cripple a man. But Hewless doesn't care. Green eyes just stare back at you with malice and need to just get through you.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you like to pass it to?
Bryndon's got more people on them, so let's pass it to Bryndon.
But then
All
has
right.
people on him.
Yeah. I think I need to take out the one that I've been working on. Just not try to damage the new guy. Just take out the one I've been working on. So
Fancy,
we're going
just get
to aim and standard attack. I'll take that out, which leaves me with 17.
17. That is 2 degrees. So
4.
and with that you manage to finally just take a blow from reaching behind and pulling back and through and just cutting through rotten sinew and bone, and the head just rolls free and clatters to the ground. Stryke. What do you do?
Does the woodsman in front of me have blue or green eyes?
Blue.
Mm.
I'm going to back up. I mean, give ground to it.
You can
and
choose to disengage if you wish. Means he doesn't get to swipe at you, and you are moving free of him.
I do kind of want him to follow me. I mean, so
Okay.
continuing, but I also am going to sort of, I guess it might be a counterattack, kind of wait for him to attack before I do so. It might be more than 2 actions there, but
Go ahead and give me a warfare check. We'll say for all this, just give me a warfare check.
6.
Not great. You kind of move back with this feint, like you're trying to ready, but you in so doing, again, this place is dark. You've got a combination of fire, soot, and now the ground is getting muddy between like wet undead organ, melting ice, and everything else, and you find yourself slipping slightly. You're trying to move back, but you lose your footing, but you catch yourself. You don't fall over, but you're in no position to strike out.
Yeah.
And with that, the woodsman does try and strike. But does a 10 hit you?
My combat defense is 10.
Tie goes to attacker. That is the DC. How are you looking?
If he does 5 again, I'm gonna have to take an injury. Or, yeah, not wound, injury.
The blow is slightly pulled. You take 3.
Okay.
As he hits you with the flat of the axe. I want you to give me an awareness check now.
Is it notice?
Yeah. I'll give you notice.
17.
There is a look of regret in having to hit you those times. And he's changing up how he's holding the axe. He's choked up on it. Like he is going to try and just move in close and keep you occupied. Now for our spearman. I don't think a 10 hits Bryndon, does it?
Nope.
As one rank falls, he goes from an overhand grip to an underhand and thrusts forward, but you manage to just skirt away. Shot going wide, spear going against the wall. Little bits and flecks of the flint in the ice cause sparks to just clatter off the spear. And now for Hulis and Elyon's duel. Does an 11 hit you, Elyon?
It just does.
As
So
the
1
green
degree.
light gets closer, they seem to be doing better. So still, it's a weak blow. It's only 4.
Okay. Armor rating will take that down to 1, so I'll just take it again.
Noted. Let's see how your support does. They're not targeting the woodsman because he's way too close to Stryke. Same thing goes with Hulis as that is close. The spearman is in the open. So I'm going to say that was fairest based on that roll. As I roll 3 dice, I get 3 6s.
Yeah.
So that was impressive. That would normally be a little bloody wound. They automatically take an injury. So this arrow flies true and gets this thing in the eye. It doesn't dig deep, but the ichor starts going from the eye, and there's this slight clattering howl as now it's slightly impaired, but it remains standing. The green light gets closer. The shadows further back get larger, and the howls start to happen. I want all of you to give me will checks.
Neat. Something I am not good at.
Courage or...
Yes, will courage.
11. Not bad.
13 here.
16.
Nice. A lot of you managed to not be frightened. You've been here before. You have faced dire wolves before. And those of you who have faced dire wolves before are not in any way impaired. The builders have not faced dire wolves before. This is new, and they are shaken. So they are not going to be as useful to you right now. As the green light gets ever brighter, ever closer. Now, the wolves barrel forth. They don't care who's there. They just want whatever's in front of them gone. So first, I see who they strike at. Y'all got lucky.
Ooh.
Y'all got lucky. Very lucky. So...
Concern. So much concern.
The spearman is no more. He has ceased to be. As the dire wolf, still with the steam of a breath of someone alive, just rips and tears this thing, as with green eyes, green knowing eyes, stare at Bryndon like an entity that is holding a grudge. And Hulis had a head. Hulis no longer has a head. Hulis falls to the ground. And there, staring at Elyon, is an old dance partner. Are one of the wolves, one that recognizes you, bares its fangs and growls, and you can see as it gets that slight lowering back on its haunches, readying to bound and strike out.
Nice.
And right behind you, the light dimming ever so slightly, is a woman with skin as white as snow, whiter still. Green eyes, dressed in a fashion that has not been seen since the invasion of the Andals. Her hands gently touching the haunches of the two wolves that are taking up a significant portion of this tunnel. As the torchlight shows upon her face and her two rows of dagger-like teeth. Who would like to go?
I will. Since I don't know if it's called a plan, but I'm planning on dropping the torch between me and the white in front of me. A minor but flaming and fire barrier, and then attempting to step back to wherever the nearest bow might be. I think there might be someone in the back lines with one, and try and grab it. And if I still have the capability, shoot the wolf in front of Bryndon.
I'll tell you what. if you give me a destiny point, not burn, just spend, I'll let you do all that.
Okay,
Okay.
will do.
So you managed to drop the torch in front of your woodsman friend and rush back to the builder's lines. And from their terrified hands, pull the bow and an arrow and get ready to immediately just knock and loose that arrow in the wolf in front of Bryndon.
Okay, 23 because it's a beast.
Oh my god, Greg.
Beefy. 20 what you said?
3.
Okay, that is 2 degrees.
Which is just 8, I assume, based on the bow.
Yeah, it is a standard bow, but still, 8 damage against a direwolf. It's gonna take it, but not be happy with that, as it lets out a whine of pain. This arrow sinking to its side. Who would you like to pass it off to?
Well, I was shooting towards Bryndon, so we'll go that direction.
Sounds about right.
Bryndon, you have an injured dire wolf right in front of you.
Yeah. I know from experience these things are hard to hit. And even when I do hit them, I gotta put my back into it if I want anything to result. But I'm gonna try it anyway because I don't know what else to do.
That's fair.
We're gonna do the 2-weapon attack in the hopes that I can get just enough damage to actually do something.
Fair.
Okay, that's looking good. It's looking real good, actually. 14?
14's 1 degree. How much damage?
3?
You managed to actually get some blood. This thing's hide is thick.
Yeah.
You plunge the dagger in, pull out a trickle of red stains its white fur and along its chest. And yeah, it's not pleased, but it's not as angry at you as it is whoever fired that damn arrow. Elyon, what you doing?
Yeah. The one that's not been injured yet is right near me, correct?
Oh yeah, it's completely fresh.
Okay. I mean, I'm just gonna rinse and repeat, so we shall roll 8 dice and see what happens. Okay, it's not bad. Not bad at all. That shall be an 18.
18 is 2 degrees.
Okay. Is it twice its combat defense, 2 degrees? Oh, wait, no, that's not how math works. That's not how math works, Spencer. Still holding it with 2 hands, so 10 damage, sir.
It is displeased at this 10 damage, and it is going to take an injury.
Okay.
So, you manage to bring the sword down, and it tries to dodge out of the way, but you pull your cut, and with that pull, you manage to drag it along its forepaw, and you, like a curtain being flicked up on a curtain rod, that tendon just goes, and a yowl of pain echoes off the walls of this tunnel. Now it's their go.
Oh, yeah.
First, we'll go with Elyon's dance partner.
Yeah.
And see how this goes with the injury. As even with that hit, it tries to come and lunge at you with its teeth. Does a 14 hit you?
1 degree.
1 degree. Okay. That is 5 damage.
Okay. So my armor rating will take that down to 2. I mean, I got quite a bit of health. I'm just gonna take it.
Okay. Now
I've only taken 4 damage so far. I feel pretty good.
Bryndon, does a 12 hit you?
Yes, 1 degree.
All right. As this one lashes out with its claws, that is 3 damage.
I'll take it.
Green-clad woman comes up, and as she does and is beginning to incant, moving hands in her body sinuously, and the sound is almost as though she has 2 throats, both talking in unison. It's discordant, it's unsettling. The woodsman turns to face her and tries to bury the axe in her.
Yeah! The white is our friend.
And manages to connect.
Yeah!
This woodsman's axe burying, well, it would have buried itself deep in her chest. But this is a woman not of this world. And so what should have been a hammer blow is just a long scratch, tearing at her dress and a little bit of her flesh. Black blood pouring forth, staining ancient fabric and the floor of this tunnel. She lets out a hiss and changes her incantation. But your now dead ally has bought you some time. The builders are far too afraid to do anything. Bruce, seeing the woman in green, leaps forward and tries to throw the axe at her in a moment of desperation. That's why he lived. The axe goes low and manages to catch her leg. It bites in. She lets out a howl as it bites true. But something strange happens as the axe head shatters as it impacts her, tearing away more flesh. But the axe is now just done. but it has dealt a significant blow as she actually falters and has to catch herself. Ogden and Ferris let loose with what weapons they have, not at the woman, but at the wolves, for they remember what happened. Ferris is fucking done. As an arrow flies at Elyon's wolf and hits the rear haunch, and the arrow just glides along. And if we got that Mortal Kombat internal view, the axe head buries itself in the base of this thing's spine, the wood shaft running along, going past the pelvis and just landing there. An incredibly painful wound as it lets out this horrific yowl of pain. So it is injured and it is wounded. Ogden's memories jog and he falters. He remembers one of these things on top of him. He remembers the pain in his arm, and the dagger goes wide. And now, who would like to go?
I would. The green ladies would then reach at me now, right?
You'd have to move past the wolf to get to her.
So I'd be taking like an opportunity attack from the wolf if I moved, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh boy. Okay. Probably want. That wolf is looking pretty bad, so I'm sure if I just.
It's not looking happy.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I'll just do the same things I've been doing just against the dire wolf. See if I can take it out.
Fair.
Okay. 17.
17.
Wait, no, that's not math. 19, actually.
19's 2 degrees.
19 is 2 degrees. Is it...
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to ask because it's higher than the last roll I had. Is it enough for criticals to matter? Okay, cool.
No.
Then 10 points of damage again.
It takes another injury as it is faltering underneath the concerted effort against it. And your blow hits, and in a brutal but poetic form of revenge, you manage to get it in the other foreleg, and another tendon snaps. Only through adrenaline and hate does this thing still stand.
I like to think also for flavor, after he slices downward the sword, he also just kind of kicks it in the snout a bit.
You go to kick it. Again, that feeling of that phantom leg.
Yeah.
And you manage to scratch its face with your prosthetic as it drags across its snout, giving it a slight cut. All right, who are you giving it to?
Let's give it to Stryke.
All right.
Okay. I am staring down that wolf that I shot, and I'm going to aim and cautiously put another arrow into it as a cautious attack, while I say, Bryndon, stab her a lot.
I am all for this.
So, wow, I rolled 7 dice total for this because of aim and bonuses and the like, and I got 5 ones.
Oh my god!
But the other 2 are 5s, so I'm still going to be okay.
Okay.
It's still an 18 total.
That
But,
hits for 2 degrees.
It's only because I'm really, really good at this. It was horrible.
So, if I remember, that's going to be
points.
8 damage still. It's going to have to take an injury as this arrow flies and just buries itself in the wolf's foreshoulder, and the pain is rocketing through this creature's body. But by magic or memory, the hate it has for the lot of you keeps it standing. Bryndon, it's your go.
I mean, I hear what Stryke said.
Yeah.
But I'm also thinking about not only the wolf in my face, but also what I remember hearing about what we need to kill this bitch. And yeah. How close is Elyon to me?
I'm going to say there's about 13 feet between the two of you.
Shit, that's not close enough. Fuck it. I'm just gonna keep attacking the wolf for the moment, and
Fair.
once the wolf is dealt with, then I can do what I need to do, but the wolf needs to go first. 2-weapon attack again.
Okay.
15.
15's 1 degree.
3.
As you, again, the hide of this thing is as thick, if not thicker, than your armor. But you managed to draw more blood, but it is still standing, and it is still trying to kill you. Does an 11 hit you?
Yes. 1 degree.
4 damage. As it breaks you with one of its 4 claws.
I am going to take an injury.
Okay. Yeah, it manages with that claw to get past a bit of your armor, and rakes the back of your knee, and you feel the heat and that pop. What?
I may have made a miscalculation. I'm forgetting that I have armor.
Yeah. Please reduce for
I'm
armor.
forgetting that I have. Yes, I'm not reducing for armor in my head, so
It's
no, I don't need to take an injury for that.
very important.
Okay. That is
Yes.
very.
I'm sorry. Yes,
Yeah, it's
math.
okay.
Math is hard.
It's okay. It's okay. No, all good. All right. So it breaks across your armor. It still hurts like hell, but it's more bruising than blood. And now for the wolf on Elyon. Does a 10 hit you?
Just misses. Misses by 1.
All those injuries and everything stacking up as it falters as it lunges for you. And that could have been very bad. The pain that it's bearing down, it pauses just short of you as its teeth snap in front of your thigh. And it is just a horrific sound, but a welcome sound.
Yes.
And now she goes.
Please, attack your
And
undead
even in
bread.
pain, she can't. And your friendly woodsman is wreathed in green flame. And quickly falls and crumples and is no more.
Whew. Alrighty then.
Ferris lets loose, seeing all of this. The builders
Come on,
starting to
Ferris.
clamor behind him. And lets fly and lets true and forces the wolf in front of Elyon to take another wound. As the arrow just sinks in, this time into this thing's chest. And this wolf is looking ragged. Ogden tries to snap out of his fear.
Come on,
and
Ogden.
remembers,
Come on. Come on, Ogden. You
it's
got
still
this.
too much for him as the dagger goes wide. And now, who would like to go?
I think
As the sounds of battle get louder from outside.
I don't think Stryke's gone first in a hot minute.
I mean, I'm happy to. The white is gone, but I'm still going to focus on this wolf. As I take another arrow from the builder guy nearby, and I'm definitely trying to get the wolf's attention, even though obviously Bryndon still has it's like in its a lot of attention there. But I will step forward and take another shot at nigh point blank range into it. There we go. Not 5 ones this time. 25.
Oh my god. Craig. Come on.
That's 3 degrees.
So
I'm guessing
12
it's 12.
damage.
Even with an injury, that's too much. So it takes a wound, and this arrow sinks in sinks in the side, and to most folks, they wouldn't know what it hit, but you know precisely what you hit with that shot, Strike, as you collapse one of its lungs. It takes a few more shots like that, it's dead. Most animals would run. It's not. Who would you like to give it to?
I will hand that to Elyon to see what happens next.
Yeah. Alright. Tried and true, aim and cautious attack. Let's see if we can actually kill this damn thing. Ooh. That's actually probably my first mediocre roll of the night. Well, it's still not bad though. 15.
15 hits with 1 degree.
And 5 damage.
It will take that. He is not happy, but it will take that. It hurts as you don't get as good of a swing in. You're catching yourself as that wasn't a foot you smacked it with. That
Yeah.
And that was the prosthetic. As you gather yourself, try and get your footing, you bring the blade down. It drags along its hide, scoring it, but not doing any deep damage.
Cool.
Bryndon.
Okay. At this point I'm trying to keep this thing busy while Stryke keeps shooting it until it dies, because Stryke is landing the heavy shots and I can tell that. At this point I'm in a way a meat shield. So knowing that, I am going to aim and take cautious attack. Oh, you don't want to see that. No, I'm not even. No, 5. No. Mm-mm.
Oh, wow.
You try to do a darting stab, and even in its weakened state, its head moves and jerks out of the way, and your blade just catches air.
Mm-hmm.
Now their turn. She sees how bad the wolves are. She incants. The wolves begin to howl. As they just violently break apart. Bone and sinew, like a claymore mine, flies all about the bottom of this hall and tears into your flesh.
Oh.
As there's no way to avoid this, I'm only sparing the builders because they're so far back. You each have to deal with 6 damage. Your armor
6.
does count, though.
Armor does count. Okay. So that brings it down to 3. I'll take an injury and negate that. So I'm down to 0 damage.
Fair.
I think I'm going to do the same.
Fair.
It's my first one.
Mine too.
Nasty piece of work.
First time.
Yeah, Elyon, you've been hoarding injuries up to now, but we get to.
Yes, I have.
Ferris and Ogden quickly recovered. This isn't their first time being harmed. And they let loose with shots at the woman.
Mm-hmm.
The arrow barely bites into her skin. That shot should have pierced her heart. It was dead sooner. The blade that Ogden let loose, now that the fear of the wolves is gone, caught her in the throat and should have sunk deep, but barely scratches her flesh. The blade practically bouncing off and clattering to the ground. It's your go.
You said Elyon was about 13 feet from you. What about Stryke?
Stryke is about, I want to say, roughly 7 feet behind you.
Okay. I'm going to back up to Stryke. And I'm going to grab his hand.
Okay.
And I'm going to just not trying to like injure him to a degree that, causes harm, but just enough to wet the blade, take it along the back of his hand.
Okay.
So he still has use of it. They said
Stryke,
we needed both, right?
I want you to take one damage. No soaking this. Just one.
Yeah, the fun part about that is that I don't have any health left, basically. I'm one away, so I'm going to take an injury. So you're going to get plenty of blood.
Oh shit. My bad.
So you try to do this gently, but you end up like nicking Stryke, and he is bleeding like a stuck pig as you drag what is essentially a scalpel across the back of his hand.
Nice.
The blade's wet now.
Yeah. I don't think I can quite get to Elyon, but I'm gonna start moving in that direction from there because
I will say you end up 6 feet away from him.
Okay, good.
Right. Stryke, what would you like to do aside from bleed?
Sorry.
No, fantastic. After Bryndon kind of moves towards Elyon, Stryke is going to drop the bow and pick back up the bone club that he had dropped previously, and then stride towards the Green Lady. This will be your last time, I say.
I'll let you hit her if it's an all-out attack.
I mean, can I really say no to that? No, I can't. Let's do it.
Okay. So get your bonuses for an all-out.
She'll never see it coming.
Yeah, reckless attack, so you get +1 die.
Okay, does not suck. 21.
Nice.
That's 2 degrees.
I believe with the club, that's only 4, because I think its base is 2. Strength -2.
Yeah, it's normally that.
Yeah, Stryke is certainly hoping it's more.
You bring the club down. I've got good news and I've got bad news. Good news. This hurt her. Bad news. The club is no more, as it shatters after the blow. But you bring this shot down, like right where the neck meets the shoulder, and you hit her so hard she bends over and braces herself with one hand. Her head snaps up, those eyes burning into you as she hisses. You standing at essentially ground zero of this entity's ire. Elyon, it's your go.
I'm just gonna walk up to this lady, and I'll have the dagger out that I have with me at this point, and just run it across my palm.
Take
and
damage.
I'll take that damage. It's 1 damage. It's fine. And see, so move. That's a lesser action.
Mm-hmm.
And
I will say the
I'll just make a stand.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go for it.
And I'll just make a standard attack. And in this case, I shall spend a destiny point to add a bonus die to this roll.
Given what I saw in chat, make that a keep die.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, that's a lot of dice to keep. Okay. Math. So that means I get to keep 6. But I do have to drop 1 because of my injury. So that shall be 22.
That is 2 degrees.
Okay. Cool.
What
so
would that normally
dagger's
do?
2. What?
What would that normally do?
Normally it would do 4 because the dagger is agility -2.
You sink this dagger as she is righting herself up. It hisses as your blood and that blade strikes her flesh. The dagger doesn't shatter, but manages to sink in. And
okay.
All the hate that she had for Stryke is now changed by a mixture of hate and fear of you.
Didn't expect a Targaryen to be here, did you?
And she hisses, and you can barely make out. And you have her attention, her full and hated attention.
Mm-hmm.
I think a 14 hits you.
Yep, this case it's 2 degrees.
With unnatural movement, she distends her jaw and snaps it shut along the arm that's holding the dagger. Those 2 rows of of needle-like teeth
Ouch.
bite
Ouchies.
through your armor,
Ouchies.
rending it, and pierces into your flesh.
Ouchies. Cool.
That is 8 damage.
Okay. Does that ignore my armor, or does that still take armor into account?
That ignores your armor.
Cool. Okay. What am I saying? I'm doing math. Okay, so I had taken that many. Okay. Oh boy. Yeah, we'll take another injury. So that'll take it.
Okay.
Yep, that'll take it down to 4 damage. I'm still up. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, those teeth, not only are they digging into you, but they burn. It burns like something. This isn't your first time feeling the burn of poison, but it's the first time it's hurt this much.
Mm-hmm.
I need you to give me a stamina endurance test.
Okay, I'm pretty decent at those. Okay. Or not tonight. Fuck. Okay, so I need to subtract, take away that die. And I subtract 2 from my injuries. That's an 11.
Okay, you have a choice to make.
Okay.
You can drop the dagger,
Mm-hmm.
or you can take 5 additional damage.
Would I be able to take an injury to reduce that damage, or is it just I'm going to have to straight up take 5 damage?
You're going to have to straight up take 5. Poison is...
I can't. I have to drop the dagger, otherwise I'm fucking dead. Like, nah, I gotta drop it.
Poison and magic are terrible, kids.
Don't do that.
So... No, you drop the dagger. And that sort of releases the hatred of her will now that she feels a little less threat. And now it's back to the rest of you as Ogden and Ferris, seeing what they did versus what you did, are backing off and signaling the builders to get ready.
If nobody cares, I'd like to go.
Go right ahead, my friend.
Go.
So
Go.
Here's the play. I'm gonna drop the left-handed dagger. I'm gonna run in and scoop up the other dagger that Elyon dropped.
Okay.
Simultaneously, I want to take my dagger and, like, I'm sure he's blood all over at this point. He's taken some damage.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm just gonna wet it.
Yeah. Oh, homegirl took a mini chunk out of my arm. Yeah, you've got blood.
Yeah.
There's plenty around.
So yeah, I've got 2 daggers wet in Valyrian blood and one also with supposedly the blood of the Andals. And I'm going in.
One of the first men.
First men,
Okay,
that's the one.
go for it.
I
will let you do everything if you spend a destiny.
Okay.
Because that's a lot of movement.
I'm doing that.
Okay.
I think we're doing the 2-weapon attack on this one. because we're all in at this point. So that's not that one, but this one. Nope. Kind of can't roll dice with your traits, Hilton, silly. Okay. I had a second destiny point. I would like to burn that to add 5. Bringing my total to 19.
Given what chat's given, I will double that result. So that 5 is 10. So that's 24, which is double her defense. And she lets out one hell of a scream. And now I need the rest of you to give me agility checks, all of you, to outrun what's about.
Question mark?
No. This is agility, and let's see what we have for the optional. Let's go with quickness. This is agility quickness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
11.
8 here. Darn injuries.
Okay.
I got 3 1s and a 2.
Nice.
Okay. Well, none of you get out in time. As she goes critical. As she sort of temporarily implodes and then explodes. The daggers in her both seem to be drawn into her form, soaked with the blood of the two. Then you hear them and almost feel them loud is shatter inside her. Bone cracking, stone bouncing around like a pinball inside this body. And then this multi-tonal scream that feels like it's coming from every single molecule of herself. And then this great green flash emits from her, blinding the 3 of you, coating you in this green light, barreling out the tunnel. Many of the dead just bursting into flame out on the fields, others just crumpling, animals just going rampant, running for wherever they can find it. And I need each of you to deal with 8 damage. You can take wounds or injuries.
We can or can't? I'm sorry.
Can. C-A-N.
Okay.
Wound
Okay.
it is.
Got worried for a second.
I'm taking a wound.
Yeah. I'm taking a wound too, because if I reduce it with an injury, I'm still dead, so I'm taking another wound.
So, the 3 of you are pretty much... It's like you were temporarily put in a microwave. As the skin blisters from the inside out. It is horrific, the pain. As it racks every bit of exposed flesh. This light. After the light dissipates, Ferris grabs some buckets and just douses you, trying to get whatever it is to stop. It hurts. Your bodies are racked with agony. But in that moment, in all the screaming and the light, eventually things grow still. Things grow quiet. And then there are two blasts from the horn of Eastwatch. The sound of things being done. No one knows quite who she was. Even in the books, as Maester Mooten pores over them, there is no true name to her. She is just one of the first Andals that came over to Westeros during the first invasion. She found her way to the north, found power there, and then used it, corrupted it, twisted it to her whims. Became an entity tied to these lands. The last bit of film in old Westeros. And today a tyrant is dead. All thanks to a brotherhood that will never be thanked. To those that serve and hold to their oaths, but will not be remembered. No title, no glory, no heirs. Just an oath and a watch. This Brotherhood of Shadows stands, and so too it does Westeros. So, all of you are storytellers, and from each of you I want a story. What happens to these characters? First, I would like to hear from Elyon Undying.
Man, what does he do in this time? I think that this is partially Elyon being curious, but also me not knowing Night's Watch lore super, super well. Are we allowed to send, like, messenger crows, like, back where we're from to send messages to people, or no?
It's frowned upon. Doesn't mean it's not done.
Cool. I'm going to, I've earned this. I just stopped this. I've earned this. I'm just going to write a letter to, I guess, the only family I really have in, Belendra, Miles, and Seldric Tarth back in the Stormlands. Sort of going over what the hell just occurred and what we just stopped. And if he can find where this individual might be, because we are still in this, in the middle of this rebellion, war-wise, if I remember correctly. Send a messenger raven to one Daemon Blackfire, and basically, if you need assistance, you have my sword. And I think he's just fit being a brother in the Night's Watch. Maybe at some point, talks with not Commander Lucas. About possibly becoming the Master at Arms at Eastwatch. But I think he just rests for a while after all this is over. He's beaten to hell and back. And I think it's just sort of fit resting and just continuing to be a brother. Unless something greater calls for him.
Your letters get you in trouble. And Elyon the Undying is one of the few brothers in the history of the Night's Watch which is forcibly transferred, as he is sent from Eastwatch all the way down the wall to Shadow Town.
Yeah.
Where eventually
Cool.
he does become the Master at Arms, having to deal and drill iron men, raiders, pirates, scum. And
Feels like
that's
home
where
all
he's
over again.
stationed. And that's where his story continues. Greg, tell me about Stryke. Tell me about the ghost of Eastwatch.
As Stryke is standing, or gets up from the fire burning his skin, and looks at his companions around him, he lets out a big breath, kind of a sigh of relief, and turns to both Elyon and Bryndon. Says, today, this ghost is going to haunt the woods. Perhaps we'll meet again. And then he's just going to walk down the tunnel out into the north until he is past the cleared area and into the trees. And I think there, as he walks through the woods, he looks for a hand to take of the child of the forest, and to see, and just keeps walking until either he cannot do so anymore, or he finds some other fate beneath the boughs of the tree.
A hand is found, and astride, taken side by side. And it is a stride that does not stop. Not for some time. Where that hand is touching hand, that hand is touching fur, that hand is touching wing. Till finally, even their magics cannot reincarnate the ghost of Eastwatch, except for one more time. And deep in a small grove in the haunted wood, there is a weird wood tree with a familiar face. Bark, white leaves. And if you listen closely on a quiet night, the ghost of the haunted forest might tell you a story. Where do we find Bryndon? Where do we find Bryndon the Strong? And what is his story?
I think Bryndon is one of the only people to ever start off as a steward and then change to a ranger. He As he gets older, he tells younger greenhorns as they come in about how he chose stewardship because he didn't think he was cut out for being a ranger. And he tells them about the old ghosts that proved him wrong.
Aw.
There are many greenhorns that pass through Eastwatch, and many eventually come to hate a very particular ranger's smile. As they are taken out to get blooded, they are taken out through the worst of the worst that the haunted forest has to offer. They end up having to not just get blooded, but go onto the coast road and have to take a plunge in the frozen sea to feel the sting of everything a brother might have to feel so that they're ready when it happens. For that hatred of that smile, Eastwatch loses fewer brothers year after year. Strength is not just of muscle, it's of character, it's of will. And Bryndon the Strong is remembered in journals found in the Eastwatch by the Seas Library. One of a handful of names kept as record by maesters and commanders. A name noted, but only to be remembered by those that take the oath. And with that, my friends, one chapter closes. One of many in Westeros. I want to thank all of you watching, wherever you are, whether it's live, VOD, YouTube. A story does not happen. A story does not live or breathe without an audience. And because of you, this story lives and breathes. These characters, this tale, live and breathe as long as there's someone to hear it. And for that, I thank you. Before this old actor leaves the stage, I want to hear from these amazing storytellers, and I want to know where you can find them to hear more. Spencer, my friend, where can we find you?
Well, after this stream ends, currently nothing, but I will try and change that in the coming summer months because I'll be graduating from college soon, and that hopefully means more free time. Woo! But I am Spencer. I am at SpencerDVA on Twitter, Discord, etc. This is sort of my first real deep dive into the Game of Thrones universe. I've watched the show, but to be as immersed as I was in a setting that I wasn't super familiar with, it was a super cool experience. And even though that Elyon lost a lot, he lost brothers, he lost somebody that he loved, and he lost a fucking leg. I've never played a character that has been through this sheer amount of hell in that amount short of an amount of time. But I don't think I would trade any of that hellish experience for anything. and it was just a super, super cool experience.
Thank you so much, Spencer. Thank you.
And thank you.
Greg, where can we find you?
Well, a little bit like Stryke, I am wandering off after this into the woods, and I don't know what's going to happen from a gaming perspective. But one can always find me and the Black Shield Productions crew on the Blackshieldprod channel, and I think there's a link to our Discord there too if anyone's interested and want to come play. Um, hopefully, we will see what comes next.
Excellent. Celeste, my friend, where can we find you?
Hey guys, I'm Celeste PLS with way too many underscores on Twitter. I'm Celeste Shepherd here on Twitch. I don't do a whole lot of streaming of my own, and aside from this, I really have one other meaningful thing going on. That's every other Sunday over on twitch.tv/MattTeb7. I join this absolutely amazing human being up here to play Masks Sunset City, where we play a bunch of teenage misfits who are trying to have a fight in Valhalla at the moment. Kind of got postponed from the last time, but we'll be there this coming Sunday and every other Sunday after that. Same Misfits time, same Misfits channel. But other than that, I don't really have a whole lot going on. I'm in a little bit of a transitionary period, pun absolutely intended. But we'll see what else is in store for me in the coming months. Just keep an eye on my Twitter. You'll definitely hear some things from me. Thank you for having me. It's been a blast.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Staffen, for all those gifted subs. I am absolutely blown away by your generosity. Thank you all so much. That means a lot for the folks here at Penny Frotail, and that outpouring of love always means a lot. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As for me, Pope World Bill on Twitter, Pope World Bill on Twitch. I lurk in all your streams and sometimes some stories. If you want to see more of my ridiculous face, you get a number of opportunities throughout the week. First off, yes, over on MattTeb7's channel, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, Mask Sunset City. Get to see me try and hold my own with a bunch of other amazing storytellers. You know one of them, as they tell the stories of young heroics. And then you can catch me over on Follow Black Cats Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern for Spy Game, The Hex Crawl. And then, not this Friday, but we'll be back after this over on Valdred's channel for Lancer Shades of Tartarus. But with that note, again, I want to thank all of you out there. And if there's nothing else I can convey to you, tell stories, find storytellers, share stories, and share good people. Because if nothing of the past year has been taught, kindness and creativity gets you through the toughest of things. With that, we close this chapter. And I have to give a little thank you to the folks over at Follow Black Cats for the thing that spawned all of this. So if you want to see another tale of Westeros and see where I got my start with this wonderful game, tune into them on Saturdays, 3 p.m. Eastern. You can also check out their YouTube. There's 5 seasons there now. So take care, folks. Love you all.